The process of healing is one that takes place when we disidentify from the character that is playing in the narrative of our minds and maintaining that story. I often find that people go on long journeys of years, even decades, of constant practices of healing to get rid of all these emotions, traumas, and blockages that are preventing them from living in the now at peace. And the reason why this is a recurrent issue in people, and it kind of establishes as a way of living, a lifestyle of constant healing, is because the character remains. And so this emotional process of realizing that there is memory, because that's all that happens when we heal, is that we realize that our identification with that memory, with that state that happened in the past, that is just simply a memory, it begins to fade. And so this rightfully can create feelings of catharsis. There is a strong emanation of love for that recognition of letting go of that character or of that association with the story, the narrative, and sometimes even the desire for restitution, which may be reaching out to people or doing kind deeds and so on. But all of this, if it still remains within a separate self structure or a character, it will continue to demand this healing. It will continue to include this character that is constantly healing and in need for to be healed. So this is what creates the eternal seeker of healing. And over time, there is, even if small, there is a nagging frustration that I'm never healed. I'm always constantly finding new things that are arising in me, and new traumas are surfacing. And this can cause a certain frustration that is not necessary, because as long as identity remains within the self structure, then there will be this attachment to anything that is needed for its evolution, for its progress, for its healing. Yes? And so what we need to do is let go of identity altogether, because the entity that needs healing and is being healed is an illusion. It is the same character that is constantly playing the narratives of the mind and that has convinced us that we are inferior, that we are superior, that we are important or unimportant, and so on. These are all the different characters that we have associated ourselves to be in narratives that are nothing more than memory. It's just passing memory. And so even though we may engage in healing modalities and practices that do show us that our past traumas is not what we are, there is still a sticky identification with experience that creates a new character. And this new character is the one that was healed. And this one will now stand on a different duality. And so this is what creates the constant seeking for healing and all its different, like I said, modalities that we go into. They could be consuming substances and getting into altered states of mind. It could be doing specific practices at home. It could be engaging with groups and people who get together and do a specific exercise to go back into past memories. It could be revisiting past incarnations and always exploring the mind. It's always like Almost like we're looking within the mind to find the infinite amount of experiences that we've had, and that there is a character associated with that. But when we realize that the character, or rather the I that becomes the character, is this one whole being, that's the moment when we wake up. That's the moment when we realize that we are already healed. Rather, I would say there was never a need for healing. The need for healing is for the self structure, for the one that is constantly moving. And in some people, this needs to run for a period of time that is not defined by any means, just by the flashing of the moment that wakes us up to realize that all the characters that I have been living and that I continue to live are simply a reflection of this whole eternal, infinite being that I am, and everybody is. That's the moment when we wake up from this self structure, because it is the self that gets involved with the experience and frames itself within the structure of the experience, of the narrative. As long as there is a separate self, as long as there is a self structure who has been healed, it'll need a polarity. It will need a duality in which it dwells. Because the separate self is always standing on an opposite. And there must be another opposite for it. That other opposite is what creates the conflict, the incompletion of the character. So how do we let go of experience? We first need to investigate truly who it is that is healing. Who is this self who needs healing? And recognize it as a character every time it appears as a thought, every time it appears as an image or as a description. When you ask yourself, who am I? And you go deep into the feeling of being, because I refers to being. And when you go to that feeling and you see an image popping up, that it describes it or it illustrates it, you immediately know that that's not who you are. That was just an image that came up. Likewise, if there is a description, a long narrative that describes I am this and that, and I am the one who has been in the past incarnations, and I am this title and that title, and from all of that is a narrative. It's not who you are. It's just a narrative. Stay with yourself. And this is the only thing that is required to be reinforced, because it's the only truth. Everything else is passing experience. Everything else is a momentary experience of the self, of you, who you truly are. This constant returning to the self, to truth, to the one being that you are, without questions, always the same, always there, always now. This constant returning will take care of everything in the moment. When we establish ourselves in this being, this could be within a very strong catharsis that we're going through, because we may have realized that we have a specific reactivity or emotion or trauma. Let's say, we'll take a big example right now. People are dealing with depression and anxiety and all these narratives that create a world for the character, the only character that can identify with the narrative, which is the self. It creates a hell world, if you will. Take a step back. Remain within yourself and allow the hell to be within you, not to push it away. But also, do not identify with it. Allow it to be within. Embrace it. Not with identity. Not mixing yourself with it, but rather observing it from the safe and imperturbable medium or space that I is, that being is. Stay with it. Watch the tendency to push it away. Watch the tendency to say, I don't want this. And also watch the tendency to say, I am all of this. I am guilty. I am a victim. So on. All of these. Watch it play out. It's not you. It's an old story. Let it be. Be very mindful of not pushing it away. I don't want to feel this. Who is the I? Another character. Throw it into the hell world. In all those revolutions. Every character that comes up, throw it in the stream of thoughts, like I say. Throw it there. Watch it in this vortex of experience. And even in subtler situations, this returning to self, when you perhaps are just going through your day and just a small emotion comes up, question it. Watch it. Watch the narrative that plays out. And watch that it needs a character. Every narrative needs a character. And if the character is you, you're bound by the drama that the narrative is playing. If the character is not you, then it's just passing experience and nothing else. Even the emotions are passing experience. It's just a feeling in the body, nothing else. You let it go. Or rather, instead of letting it go, accept it. Face it, embrace it. Feel it within you. Don't be afraid of it, but also don't get involved with it. Allow it. The more you do this, the more not only do you let go, we're not even concerned about letting go or accepting anything. At this point in our practice, what we're actually interested in is to reinforce that which has space for every single experience. Let me explain that. Because the one that wants to be healed and that is being healed is constantly seeking objects within mental phenomena, objective experience to heal. And it's limited always by that which it finds and can possibly, through healing modalities, dissolve identity with that. And it's always prone to creating a new identity of the healed one. The changing self is the new identity. But it's always changing. It's always a new identity. We don't care and we're not interested in seeking things to heal. We're only interested in reinforcing that which disidentifies, which is being you. The more you are yourself, the less these experiences, as they come up, cause an impact on you. The more you reinforce who you are, the more these experiences mean less to you. In other words, what used to be a trauma in the past, and it required always a deep amount of work and healing, now is just simply a recognition. It's that simple. And to want to complicate this is to give too much credence to a separate self, to the self structure that says, I need healing. This is the path of inner healing effortlessly. I hope this is helpful to you and you put it into practice, because it only requires one thing, and that is just know yourself and then be yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope this was helpful for your practice. If you think this can help you, please make sure to go to my community in Skool, where you can find more information about this. You can get involved with the community and even attend some of the events that I have, masterclass and guided meditations that I do there in the calendar section. And furthermore, if you feel that I can help you more through this path, you can also book a call with me, a one-on-one, where we can discuss where do you feel you're at, where do you need improvement, and how this method can further help you with my guidance and help. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching this video.